Alright guys, I'm back. So here is the little test for identifying your attachment type. I'm going to read off 4 separate boxes. In each box there appear to be 5 things you can check. You're going to want to write down how many you check in each box if you're trying to figure out what your attachment type is. Box 1. I find it easy to be close to others. I'm comfortable depending on others. I'm comfortable with others depending on me. I'm not worried about having a close relationship. I'm okay with others not accepting me. Box 2. I'm uncomfortable not being in a close relationship. I want a lot of intimacy and approval in my relationships. I worry that others don't value me as much as I value them. I want complete emotional intimacy with my significant other. I feel that others don't get as emotionally close as I would like. I checked all 5 in box 2. Box 3. I am comfortable not having emotional relationships. Independence is very important to me. I don't need anyone else's help to get things done. I don't see a lot of value in emotional relationships. I never feel truly close to someone else. Box 4. I'm uncomfortable getting close to others. I want to be close to someone, but I'm afraid of being close. It's difficult to trust significant others completely. I'm afraid I'll be hurt if I get too close to someone emotionally. I feel unworthy of my significant other's time and attention. That's the other one I checked in that box. So I had 1 in box 1, 5 in box 2, none in box 3, and 1 in box 4. That makes me a box 2, which is preoccupied. Each box represents one of the 4 attachment types, and the box with the highest number identifies yours. If you have the same number in more than one box, then you have features of both attachment types. Each of the 4 attachment types is defined below. Circle the type or types that is the best match for you. If you had the most in box 1, your attachment type is secure. You have high self-worth. You believe others are approachable and caring. You're comfortable with autonomy and with forming close relationships. If you had the most in box 2, like I did, you have a preoccupied attachment style. Your self-worth is based on gaining the approval and acceptance of others. Relationships are intense to the point of relying on individuals too much. Anxiety is reduced when with a significant other. If you had the most in box 3, that's the dismissing attachment style. You have a positive view of self, you desire independence, and appear to avoid connections with others altogether. Denies the need for close relationships and will say relationships are unimportant. If you had the most in box 4, you have a fearful attachment type. You see self in a negative way. You don't trust others. You're afraid to be in close relationships, but feel the need. Experiences discomfort with close relationships, and sees self as unworthy of responsiveness from a significant other. People with BPD are likely to develop a preoccupied or fearful attachment type, or both. These 2 attachment types are similar in that people experience a high degree of anxiety associated with the fear of abandonment, but they differ in how people interact with others in order to feel safe. Individuals with a preoccupied attachment type tend to seek out others to help them feel safe when they're stressed or afraid, and those with a fearful attachment type tend to distance themselves from others out of fear of not being worthy of taking the other person's time or attention when they need it. Both of these insecure types create a lot of internal conflict. If you scored high for both preoccupied and fearful, it means you have an internal push and pull to be close, while fearing being hurt and abandoned. Attachment conflict may be something you feel, as Tony did. He wanted his mother to love him, notice him, and appreciate him for his deeds and successes, but she only saw his failures and mistakes. His fearful attachment type left him conflicted inside, feeling a push and pull between the love he wanted and needed and the expression of love he received. This attachment type showed up in his life as conflict, his changing emphasis on grades, his inability to accept help from his coach, his strong need to be with Pam, coupled with feeling unworthy of her and her attention, and his attempts to gain approval and love from his mother by trying different things to please her. His attachment type was the source of a lot of confusion, and it worsened his experience and his BPD. And it worsened his experience of BPD. Have you felt like Tony did? This conflict motivates and affects how you behave, feel, and act toward yourself and others in relationships. At the heart of it is your attachment type. Attachment is the motivator that drives us to try to connect, get close, and be vulnerable, but it also causes us to feel afraid, lonely, abandoned, and scared as a result of that same connection. But it didn't have to be this way for Tony, nor does it have to be this way for you. Attachment styles can change over time. With effort, you can learn new skills to attach differently. That's good news. I like to hear that. Changing your attachment style. Attachment is a great motivator in our relationships and our emotional lives. When our attachment type is insecure, we have greater difficulty in many parts of our life, including with controlling our emotions and managing our relationships. But you're not stuck with this attachment type. Just as you're not stuck with BPD, you can reroute the motivation of attachment to work for you, not against you. Research shows that individuals can become more securely attached, both through changing how they see themselves and others, and by encouraging new patterns of adaptive functioning. The change comes about when you establish new adaptive and healthy patterns by exploring and challenging your negative beliefs, behaviors, and ways of functioning, such as by examining your past, which we're doing in part 1 of this workbook. Learning and using self-soothing techniques to enhance self-control, and recognizing what triggers drive you to fall into those old negative ways of dealing with yourself, others, and situations. Now that you know a little about attachment theory, have an idea of your attachment type, and know that you can change it, take a few minutes to reflect on how you think it shows itself in your life and your relationships. Think of your attachment type as a new way of looking at some painful issues around your BPD. Be curious as you do this exercise. There are no right or wrong answers. You're just exploring. How do you think your attachment type explains your motivations for connecting to others? How does it affect your fear of being close to others or your fear of losing them? I would say that my attachment type explains perfectly. I mean, my relationships are intense. I do rely on other individuals way too much, and my anxiety is significantly reduced when I'm with someone else. My self-worth is totally based upon the approval and acceptance of others. I'm constantly trying to fit in with everyone all of the time. How do you think your attachment type affects how you see yourself? List some words you'd use to describe yourself in relation to other people, and write a little about how these descriptions match up with your attachment style. When I'm around other people, I am needy, clingy, I'm a people pleaser. I try to make everyone happy, or whoever I think likes me the least is who I try to make the happiest, because everyone else should already like me and I don't have to work so hard at that, right? Wrong. And they match exactly to preoccupied attachment style. Very needy and clingy. How do you think your attachment type affects your relationships? Reflect on a couple of your most significant and more casual relationships through the lens of your attachment type. Do you behave differently in casual relationships versus deeper ones? I change my sense of self to be loved and liked by other people. I totally do. I often don't tell people when I need something from them. Really need it because I don't want to bother them. But then there are other times when I could do it myself. But I feel like they might like me better because I can make them feel better about themselves by needing their help. It's not a conscious thought at the moment. It's not like that's what goes through my head. But looking at it, I can see that that's kind of what happens. Describe what push and pull you feel the most as a result of your attachment type. For example, do you feel the desire to be closer to others, but are afraid to do so, so you isolate yourself? I don't isolate myself. Do I? I guess I do, because I feel like people don't want me around because I'm annoying. So, yeah. I've left the room before because I couldn't think of anything to do with my kids, so it was just like, he's better off without me in the room with him. I often think I'm annoying my husband, and I leave the room because even though I want to be in there with him, I feel like I am annoying him. I leave people's houses because I think I'm annoying them. Maybe I am, though. That's the thing. How do you know I'm not? Just I want to be around them, so that would be the push and pull. These questions may have confused or frustrated you, leaving you unsure of what responses to put down. Or you may have started writing one thing and veered off into other territory altogether. Or the answers you came up with may have left you feeling discouraged or overwhelmed. These are all common experiences, and it's fine if any of them have happened. We're just starting our exploration, and that involves looking at ourselves in new ways and seeing what we discover. Your BPD doesn't want you to explore. It wants you to stay stuck. But you recognized a need for change, to do things differently, and working to change your attachment type is part of that journey. The process of changing your attachment type is not an easy one. If it were easy, there wouldn't be BPD workbooks, and some psychologists might be out of a job. But it is possible. Setting the stage for success. Using the spaces below, pull together what you learned from this chapter so you can take this information with you. I feel like these are the hardest parts of this workbook for whatever reason. I really struggle with the most helpful information I learned from this chapter, and I had to come up with 3 of them. It was helpful to learn that there are 4 attachment types. It was helpful to learn that I am the preoccupied attachment style, and it does explain a lot about how I act with other people. And while going through this chapter, I was thinking, yes, I agree. And it helped me to see that I can learn new things if I'm patient. This isn't forever. This can change. As you explored the roots of your BPD and your attachment type, you probably wondered if all BPD is the same. It isn't. And in the next video, we're going to explore the 4 BPD subtypes and identify the subtype that best reflects your experience. So be sure to check back for that video next week here on my channel, Who Am I? My Journey with BPD. Don't forget to subscribe, like that video, and hit the bell so that you're notified when our next video comes out. Thanks, guys. Have a great night, and thank you so much for watching.